I'd like to call to order the Board of Trustees meeting for January 8th, 2019. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome everyone to the first meeting of the year. Please make sure your cell phones are turned off or on silent. And a roll call, please.
Trustee Chamberlain. Here. Trustee Ford. Here. Trustee Goldstein. Trustee Haber. Trustee Hollander.
Here.
Trustee Jamerson.
Here.
President Norris.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. I'm having a little problems with the electronics, so please bear with me on that as well. First item of business is approval of minutes from the Board of Trustees meeting from December 18th, 2018. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. Director of Community Services.
No report.
Okay, are there any questions for Rob? All right. Well, we still might have a question. Planning Commission report?
Yes, so we had a meeting on Thursday. So we spent part of the time, hopefully, completing the comprehensive plan that we will finalize at our next meeting is our plan to then present to all of you. And the rest of the meeting was with engaged senior homes. So we had some conversations about this group. So they have actually now have a home under contract to, based on, with a contingency that, we allow them into the village as a senior living facility. They're currently in that business as far as placing home carers into homes, and they've been doing this for a number of years. They seem to do pretty well at it. They've got a pretty good reputation. And they got this idea of trying to find a way to keep seniors together in a home where maybe they don't work well in a large facility. It's just not adaptable to that for whatever reason, or they want them closer to maybe people who live in Riverwoods, that they would have their parents there or parent. I think some of the issues that we kind of touched on, we're going to have a public hearing next meeting. That Thursday is going to be a public hearing for them. But they are looking to put 11 people into this home, convert it. It's on Duffy. And they showed us plans. That's how far along they are. I thought, gave a very good presentation. We certainly have questions about the level of care, when do you make decisions of how somebody's there too long. We're going to try to understand the cost. Do we really have to have 11 people? Their feeling is you need one caregiver for every 6, so they'd have 2 full-time during the day and then 1 during the evening. They would not have cars. They wouldn't be able to drive. And there's, I guess the state of Illinois has certain ordinances, which Bruce can speak to a little better than I can, of what level of care they can give. And there is a little controversy, as there is in everything, of the level of care versus competing with assisted care living. Their feeling is that in Phoenix, there are 2,000 of these beds in Phoenix. There's about 100 here in Lake and Cook County. So they feel there's a good market. There's a lot also in Florida. I think the idea is good. I think most of the Plan commissioners felt that it will fill a need of the community, and it's just a matter of getting it right. Of course, the issues for us is wanting to be sure that our ordinance and everything is in place, that somebody can't come in and either buy it and take it and do something else with it, you know, that of course is always one of the challenges. So that's Bruce's challenge. So that was pretty much it. I invite you all to come to the public hearing, first Thursday in February, and they'll do a much larger presentation. And that was pretty much it. Any questions?
Trustee Ford?
You're specifically talking about seniors, is that right? And maybe this is more of a legal or ordinance question. By having a facility like this, a home like this, does this open the door or open the opportunity for other kinds of living situations where it's non-family members in a group living together?
Well, that's what I was intimating when I said that's something our ordinance, we're going to have to make sure it's something that we're all comfortable with. And that's why we have great legal counsel. And I'm sure that he'll do a great job coming up with something that we'll all be comfortable with. But there is no question that that is one of the major issues that I think all of us on the Plan Commission and all of you will need to be comfortable with. You know, I don't think there's any question about that.
Trustee Harmon?
My understanding is this is a private pay. It isn't paid through Medicare. or
That's correct.
Medicaid. And you intimated that this was for seniors only. I never heard them say that that's their target audience. I understand that. But I didn't know that it was restricted by age.
It is.
It is restricted by age to 55 or older? Or?
The license under which they operate requires that at least 80% of the population be over 55. And in their experience, all of the population would be over 55.
So theoretically, they could have 20%.
Well, yeah, but being a private
Younger
organization,
for medical reasons that might need to be here.
They could, under the license that they have.
Okay.
you know,
Thank you.
I think part of it is, and you were there, Henry, this is their wheelhouse. This is where, you know, they're not interested in getting involved in things that is not in their wheelhouse. They understand that business. They've been in business for 15, 20 years, whatever, with private placement, and they've just taken it to a different level here with this opportunity. And I think it would be nice if it can work out. So, anything else?
Sure.
So, do they have a defined level of
Kara?
care?
Yeah, there is somewhat, we didn't get into it that deeply. There is a level of care. Obviously, they're not bringing people in that they need full-time medical care because they're not going to have a medical person there. Yet, they could be in a wheelchair. They could possibly not be ambulatory that way. They can't drive, so there's people in a situation where they're not able to drive. When we ask some of those questions, they seem to understand the situation. They understand as people age, you know, you lose your filter. Some people become maybe a little more physical. Those are all situations they've run into before in their private placement. They know they have a limit. Now, that's something we've asked them to come back with on the next meeting and give a little more detail of exactly what it is. You know, this was just more of a cursory type of get to know you and ask them basic questions, and they're going to be prepared with a presentation. If you would like, we've asked the plan commissioners to send questions to Bruce that he will forward to them. So if you have some questions and you want to get ahead of it, that you'd like them to be prepared to answer and you want to come, send your questions to Bruce and he'll forward to them and they'll be prepared to answer them.
Okay, I will do that.
Yeah.
Because I'd be interested to know if they do have a defined level of care.
They do.
I think they have to.
They do.
And, you know, how often do they do assessments to make sure that they're
I believe that's all legally.
all within it?
I think the main standard they would probably come to under the license that they would operate under is that they assist people who require assistance with activities of daily living, which in the health care world has a very specific meaning. It means people who have trouble bathing, transferring, so they will help people, they will remind people of medications, they can help people take their medications, they can help people with activities of daily living, they're, of course, they're not licensed as a skilled care facility.
Right, so that's really the point of what my question would be. Are they what kind of assessments are they doing and how often, so that if someone falls outside of that into
Yeah.
the need for skilled care, that's caught quickly, and there's a problem, a safety
Just
problem.
forward those questions, those are all good questions, and, I think they'll be prepared to answer it. But we like the system, like I said, I think 11 bedrooms seemed like a bit much, but everybody has their own room, everybody has their own half bath, and then there's 2 full baths that are in the facility, but obviously they don't want them in the rooms, so, if they need help with bathing or whatever. But they seem to certainly kind of have it together. I've received a letter from somebody who I know who feels they do very nice work. Also, a recommendation letter. Okay?
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, treasurer's report?
Well, it's early in the month for a treasurer's report. I will pass along to you that we are targeting February for an annual review, meaning that would be an annual review of revenues and expenses for 2018, and we'll hopefully have a representative or talk about our investments as well at the same time. And we're targeting that February first or second meeting, likely the second meeting. Also, today we received a presentation from a firm on revenue auditing. Utility revenue auditing. And I think we're going to be ready to talk about that a little bit more depth, unless, John, you want to go into it right now. At the next meeting, we will have a presentation by the firm, and we can choose if we want to go forward with it. Again, it's a revenue audit, tracking our revenue. And I think it's a good clarity. It's a good point of clarity for us, where it's coming from, if we're missing revenue that we ought to have, and so on.
It's especially looking at the various utilities, telecommunication taxes, et cetera, that basically we just get money rebated from the state that was picked out by the carriers themselves. And if you look at our history with the telecommunications tax, it looks more like a sine wave than a consistent flow, which bothers me no end. Second, with the 911 surcharge and the ETSB surcharge, that goes by zip codes. Well, we all know our zip code, when you put it in, half the time pops up as Deerfield. So Deerfield could be getting some of our revenue as well. So what we want to be checking is to make sure that we're getting all of this money. Normally it's done on a contingent basis, so if we don't get money out of it, we're not going to be paying them anything. But these are the things that we're looking at, trying to find a way to get a better handle on where the money's actually coming from.
And lastly, I'll just report on, we've had some progress in clarifying those accounts and so on that we talked about last time. Making sure authorized signers are up to date, and closing accounts that we're really not using, and it just creates a little inefficiency. The other thing I want to do is clarify, when we talked about maintaining a balance in our checking account, and the number we talked about was $800,000. Please bear in mind that not only we did a cash projection of our operations, but we have one checking account that all the expenses flow out of, and so the checking balance in the checking account is also meant to stay high enough so that we don't have any issues with water or sewer expenses that we have, and certainly payments back to SSAs and so on. So there's a lot going on in that checking account that we need to be assured that we won't have an overdraft. And as we get better at it, as we get better at cash projections and managing those things, that could come down, that number could come down. But right now, that's a best conservative estimate to handle all of the outflows that go out of the village. So I just want to make that point of clarification. Other than that, we'll have the cash balance and the revenue expense report. We'll have a preliminary one, and then in February we'll do a more in-depth study of what 2018 looked like for the village and for us. Any questions or comments or suggestions? Thank you.
Thank you. Consultants for Will Hamilton. Oh. Village attorney.
It's all on the agenda.
Village ecologist is not here. Police report.
I just have the police activity for all of 2019 to date. And, no, 2019. Yeah. She was asking about 2018. At the end of 2018, our last meeting, December 18th, I gave all the activity from January 1st through December, I think it was 18th. So I think the board had a pretty good snapshot of our activity for the entire year, and compared to 2017 for the same period of time. So this year is just a smaller report, which is what we've done this year so far. That's all I have.
Any questions for the chief? Okay, moving on then to the standing reports on the Flatbush Heritage Center. We have met via telephone conference and computer with Mind Mixer and have started working on question formulation, etc. We had a meeting this morning as well with our landscape architect to go over some of that. It was also a matter of reviewing his modified plan. As I mentioned several weeks ago, we took a field trip, or at that point we were going to take a field trip, but we did in fact take it down to Olympia Fields. And as is often the case, we had a very nice drive, a very nice conversation in the car, but when we got there, what we told we'd be seeing wasn't exactly what was there. The equipment had not been put in, they had a master plan though, and they showed that to us. They did show us a number of more natural looking play area type of units that we have now having incorporated into our current plan, which I think all of us find much more attractive and consistent with Riverwoods if we do go forward with this. That is now incorporated into the most recent plan, which I think you all have a copy of. You will notice that we have also been able to separate out the phase one, which are those things which the landscape architect believes if we're going to go forward are things that should be part of the plan. In that we totally revise it. And then a second phase for about an additional 166 that are things that would be nice to have if we built it and we found out people were actually using it. So that's something we can review. We'll be incorporating this into our mind mixer questions as well as trying to get an answer to that ultimate question of if you build it, will they come? Because I think that's something all of us would like to know for sure is if it's built, will people use it? Because no matter how much money we can trim off of it, if we build something that isn't used, then obviously that's still not a good expenditure of money. Second item was...
That's good, clarifying.
Yes.
Sorry, I've been on vacation, so I just want to clarify. So first of all, do we have, am I correct that we have a meeting tomorrow to talk with the Mind
That is
Mixer folks?
correct. At 11 o'clock, we'll be having a telephone conference with Mind Mixer with the preparation of questions and moving forward.
Okay, and I want to again encourage the board, if there are particular topics or questions that you have, let us know now. And I'm also wondering if my concept of how this is going forward is correct, and if not, then please let me know. We're going to talk with Mind Mixer folks. We're going to basically put the survey together. We will let the board take one more look, but then as far as actually getting, final wording, then the subcommittee is going to take care of that with the Mind Mixer folks. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll be working with them to help us formulate the questions. We want to make sure we get full input from the board and the public that may be here to make sure that we are covering those areas that people want covered. And we're trying very hard to say, do you think this is worthwhile, asking people to say yes or no on a graded scale? The same thing with the types of things they would use, asking the question quite simply, if it were built, do you see yourself using it with your children or not? And then a section that we'll have in there where people will get to add in elements and see what it costs to put them in so that they're physically looking at the numbers going up as they're asking for something to be built. Because I think that would make people realize more that this is spending money. So we're trying to get people to look at this from all directions. As I said in the mayor's letter with the voice, we could do nothing, and that has the extra benefit of not spending the money, but at the same time, we have the potential here of perhaps creating very useful amenities. So we have a very hard question before us to try and figure out. And it's unfortunate that we have some time crunch looking at us, although I did not hear back, as I had hoped, from the Austin people today. They were originally supposed to tell us yes or no if we were still in the running.
So there's still a possibility I'm able to go to Springfield?
Yes. I would imagine that we are still in the running because they sent me a note saying thank you. They sent me an email on Sunday afternoon. Unfortunately, it was not during the end of the Bears game, which I would like to have been distracted. But in the middle of the afternoon, asking me to have something by noon the following day, which we did respond to, and then they asked for something by the close of business that day. I got a thank you note today. Well, if we were not in the running or still potentially eligible, I assume I would have gotten some indication of the contrary. But that's an assumption. Right now, I think we need to plan the 22nd if we are in the running. Someone needs to go to Springfield. I will not be in the country, so I can't go. So hopefully I've talked Cheryl into going, but it's a 3-minute presentation, and that's all the time. So going to Springfield for 3 exciting minutes is very hard to ask anyone to do. I've got family there, in-laws, so at least I have a way to put it together. But Cheryl, you'll earn your pay if you take that.
I'm assuming it would be rather like a PowerPoint presentation. So.
I'm hoping that they'll be asking questions as much, but they stress very much it's 3 minutes. I'm not sure what you're supposed to be selling in 3 minutes. Talk about an elevator speech. Rick, you have a question?
Yes.
Are you volunteering?
No. But thank you for asking. So I'm looking at the estimate for all the costs, and I see phase 1 and phase 2, but I don't see anywhere where it explains the difference, and we don't need to go into it right now, what the difference is between phase 1 and phase 2.
That's what I was trying to say. Phase 1 is those things that we should definitely do. It should have really probably said optional.
But as I'm looking down the list, I see play equipment in phase 1, and then more play equipment in phase
Right.
2.
It would be an expansion of the plan.
And that I kind of figured, but then I see the shelter in phase 1, and then I see half again as much in phase 2, so I guess I just don't understand.
That has to do with whether we would be putting the matching rock facing around the legs on the shelter roof, more like the village hall. So it's a matter, we try to get it down to bare bones.
Oh, I get that.
Oh, it's not fair.
There's just information lacking as
So
far as.
is
We don't disagree.
John, the explanation you're giving in one of Ben's emails,
Not entirely. Basically, Eric and I kind of dug it out yesterday while we were talking with him, and that's why it's a bit confusing, and it would be nice if it was in greater detail before we go that far. But again, remember, these are estimates too, so.
right, but I was asking the very same questions that Trustee Jamerson was asking. So that's an indication to me that we probably need to have better be more specific. And I don't think it's going to be any problem. He just needs to add a few extra words.
Oh, I totally agree. He said he did this quickly and said he would have been better to choose optional rather than phase 2. Phase 2 implies it's definitely going to happen. And so I was trying to figure out how it worked out as well. So, take it as it is, it's giving you a feeling on the numbers and so on, but yes, you need more information before you're asked to do anything.
Okay.
And you can see, and I wish I wasn't having problems with the electronics, the different equipment, I think you would agree, this looks more for some of the
Yes.
nationalized play things to Walmart, the type of thing we'd be looking at.
I'm sorry, I have one more question. The types of information that they were requesting from the board, what was that exactly? That the state.
Oh, the information had to do with the ADA, they were not sure how some of the equipment was shown, and they didn't see the ADA compliance part of it, and had to send them your information directly from the manufacturers that he got Monday morning, and then they asked for additional clarification on that. So, I think it's probably all know we have stressed ADA compliance with this from the very beginning.
So as we discovered when we were in Olympia Fields, even some of the, we took pictures of some of the things that they had, not yet built, but were in concept phase, and brought them to our architect, and he said that some of them were not ADA compliant. So he looked for substitutes that were as close to that as he could get that were ADA compliant. And so I can understand why they would have questions because we weren't specific in our original plan.
One nice thing is that the company that distributes this material is based in LaGrange, so if we do go forward with this or continue planning even, they're at least local or semi-local by Chicago standards, so that we can work on that. Well, I'm just finding it hard to understand why I have to treat a log if we put it out in the woodland area, because it was made by us, treated differently, and put pads around it as opposed to a log that's out in the woods right now that a kid might be walking on and fall off of on their own. We're held to a different standard, but welcome to the world of lawyers. Oh, we need to make our one, so we better be careful. Okay, any other questions on this right now? Again, we'll be trying to get more to you. Also, I should stress that with Mind Mixer, we can ask a series of questions. It's not like we would ask one bank of questions. If we get additional information and it causes us to think more and we want to have things clarified and responded to in different ways, we can do that, and I have every expectation we will continue to be asking people to respond on this, unless we get enough negative information that in the beginning we say, well, this is just not somewhere we need to go. So, okay. On to general items, I will not be at the next meeting. Trustee Haber, who is not here this evening, will be presiding at the next meeting. The Northwest Mayor's Conference on Metro Funding is being held on the 22nd. If you are interested or able to attend this, let me know. I would like very much if someone could. We've been contacted from several sources, from the Mayor's Conference, as well as a few mayors. The bottom line is Metro's talking about having to close down stations and reduce service. So we have to talk with them about how we want them to be spending their money, etc. And while we don't have our own station, we do have several stations that are closed and are there for our residents. So if any of you can attend, please let me know. And we'll get you
Well, I'll
some
go
information.
with this.
I assume we can't go, as I say. If we get shot down and you're free, then I'll be happy to contact you again. Okay, moving on then, are there any visitors wishing to address the board? Please.
I wasn't sure where I had to.
The microphone still works, and we'd like to get you over there, even though right now it's not being recorded. It is on the hearing assist, so for that reason it should be done. Please identify yourself and who is here.
Okay. Hi, my name is Laura Trevino. I live at 2500 Greenbrier, which is just behind us. We back up to a forest preserve. One of the reasons I'm here tonight is that a lot of the neighbors who live back here, and some of them have the flu, working out of town, have written letters to the board and many of them don't feel that they're being heard or that what they're saying isn't being communicated to other folks in the village about they are not for this Flatwoods project. And I'm going to go through a couple of the things. One is that they, and we all believe it's an invasion of privacy. You're going to be putting a lot of different people in here that aren't from here. One of the reasons, I know you've done some work on branding, that we've moved to Riverwoods is to not be in a fishbowl and not look into somebody's, house next door because it's right there. We actually have some privacy, and to know that there could potentially be paths behind our house where we've got tons of windows and have no curtains, and it just is not a reason. It doesn't seem to fit with why we moved here. It's a safety risk to our family and to the animals in the area. Howard, who lives next door, has 2 horses and came to one of the last meetings because very upset that this is being put in.